Thank you for the opportunity. Sorry for the technical difficulties. My name is Robert Salvador. I am the co-founder and CEO of DigiBuild. Before I jump in, just wanted to say thank you to all the other participants, to Kayla, everyone at Shadow, all of our industry experts and investors who are on. As a startup, we really appreciate the opportunity. So today I'm going to talk to you about DigiBuild. And we are a company that are building SaaS tools for the construction industry. And specifically, what separates us is that for some of our tools, we're using a groundbreaking new technology called blockchain, which I will talk about here in a few minutes. But besides just that, one of the things that we're most proud of is that we're building tools that are by builders for builders. Collectively, amongst our team, we've built over $5 billion worth of commercial construction projects over the years. Some of our team members have up to 40 years of experience. So while there's some incredible tools that are out there, there's still a lot that is lacking in how they translate to the job site. Many of the tools are great in theory, but sometimes need a little bit more work in how they actually show themselves on a real live construction project for project managers and the folks who are managing construction projects. So we're proud to be by builders for builders, and we hope you like what we're offering. So as I mentioned, DigiBuild is building SaaS tools for construction, some of which are enabled by blockchain. Now, I want to just touch on blockchain a little bit, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole to where we're getting away from the core product and what we're doing. But just a couple thoughts on blockchain. So what a blockchain is a data structure that allows parties who don't trust one another, who have to transact data back and forth between one another, to digitally enable trust into that scenario. And as you'll see in a couple slides, some of these processes are very complex because of the lack of trust amongst these companies. So when you can enable a blockchain, you can drive efficiency in many ways that haven't been possible before. So the long story short for this presentation on what blockchain is a data structure that allows distrusting parties to interact with one another in a safe and transparent type of way. So that's all on blockchain for now. Happy to answer more questions about the technology itself, but right now we want to tell you how we help your construction projects and your construction project teams. So what we're building out 3 tools. All 3 we're building out at once. However, one of them, the ultimate productivity tool, is the main endeavor that we're taking right now. And what that allows you to do is run your construction project from one screen. So you may have heard of a technology called Superhuman that allows you to drive efficiency in your emails. Very popular startup. Basically, we're bringing that to not only construction emails, but all the other platforms that construction teams are having to use. What we want to do is save your project team's time, remove a lot of the ancillary tasks and wasteful tasks that we'll talk about that right now weigh companies and project management teams, weigh them down. So the ultimate productivity tool is our first and main tool that we're going to talk about. But I also just want to touch on some of the other blockchain-enabled tools that we'll be coming out with over the course of the next year. We're building pay blocks, which are digital payment rails for construction projects. You can think of that as Stripe meets construction. And then we're also building out the yet-to-be-named supply chain tool that will allow you to procure, track, and manage materials from the time you order it from your supplier to your job site. We've been fortunate enough to have 30 beta users that we're working with, including 3 multi-billion-dollar companies. And we're also fortunate to have a partnership with IBM. Many of you may or may not know that IBM has a very big interest in blockchain use cases right now. So we've gotten their attention there. And then IBM also has a $7 billion per year engineering, construction, and operations division that thinks what we're doing has a lot of potential for the industry. Watch my time here. So as you know, Contech is a very big opportunity. You probably wouldn't be on this call if you didn't already know that. So for purposes of time, I'll go ahead and skip right through here. But at the end of the day, construction technology is growing more and more. Especially with some of the uncertainty in the world right now, the need to be able to manage projects, manage schedule, manage budget remotely is extremely important. Okay, so macro picture, Everyone knows construction needs help. I don't have to beat a dead horse there. Razor thin profit margins, risk management is tough, productivity is declining, and that's why the need for software has really come to the forefront. Drilling down on some of the more micro problems, construction is very complex. The workflows are very complex. This is just a small example, like I was talking about the distrusting parties that have to send data back and forth with one another. Each of these companies has to review documents, has to confirm documents, has to put their own risk management principles into these documents. So what ends up happening is you waste tons of time and money and project team time adding more complexity to this, because as I mentioned earlier, even though we all have to work together on projects, there's an inherent lack of trust between our companies. We're separate companies. So this is a very complex system. And then when you take all those different workflows that happen in construction, you realize companies have also doubled the number of SaaS platforms they're using, adding even more confusion and risk for project teams who in many cases might not be very good with technology anyway. So companies are using their own cloud. They're using PM softwares like Procore, their own email, Autodesk suite of services, accounting platforms like Sage. So as you can see, it's a very complex system that's only getting more complex. So what this does for your companies and your projects is it hurts them. So if you look, 35% of a project team's time is spent searching for things, fixing documents, reviewing documents you've already seen before. Otherwise, you can call it non-optimal activities. And right below that, you see that 45% of construction teams spend more time than they expected on those activities. That leads to lost data. 30% of the data created in the job is lost by the end of the job. And here, just to talk about how complex these projects can get, a large project creates 750,000 plus documents across multiple platforms. How does this hurt your company specifically? Well, we all know that 70% of construction projects are finishing late and or over budget. Project teams are just too overwhelmed. They don't have the capacity to manage that schedule and budget properly. 50% of companies report underperforming projects in the previous year. 50%. No other industry would accept that. And overall, all of this non-optimal time wasted is $180 billion annual cost to the industry. So how much time is that costing your company? I'm actually going to skip the payments piece right now just for purposes of time. So we're building a product that allows you to manage your entire project from one screen. You'll be able to interact with softwares, the layer one softwares like Procore, Autodesk, Sage, many of these other companies we're integrating with, so that instead of digging from email to check RFI correspondence with an engineer and then having to go into Procore to submit the RFI or some combination of that, you're going to be able to do all of this from one screen. Again, removing that wasted time that we talked about, that 45% of that time is wasted. We released an MVP in January 2020 to our beta users. We have 3 paid pilots confirmed, and we're officially launching in Q3 of 2020. I appreciate the chance to present. I apologize for the technology errors, but thank you so much, and good luck to everyone else. And we'll be available on the Slack channel to talk a little bit more about DigiBuild and what we're building for the construction industry.